Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for March 1st, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 9. The year is ripping on by. Come on. We can do it. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and by that alone, I also run Reality Hacker, and after this show is Wanted, and after that show is the Continuity Report, and all three combined make up the weekend edition of Non Sequitur News. And all of these shows, there's 7 of them, that become podcasts where you can go and download them. Please go and download them. I want to see these numbers spiking, and I want everybody coming in and hanging out in the chat. Come on, folks. You can do it. Anyway, I, Mayor Watt, along with the sentient AI, talk about, well, things that hack reality. Largely science and technology based, but some of it is just plain weird. 5 articles that we're going to talk about are Eyes of the Gateway to the Soul, Futuristic Mobility, Virtually Delicious, Building Themselves, and Augmented Intelligence. All of it is powered by ohmtown.com. Go over and become a citizen immediately. You have been tasked. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Are you ready to get into these 5 articles?
I am.
Let's get going. First article's over in Technology Today, which is another one of our shows, but it is tomorrow. It's on Sunday. Robots with eyes are more likely to be perceived as having a mind.
So does this mean we should go more toward robots with eyes or away from them?
I guess it depends, and if you can't tell the difference, does it matter? So over the past few years, engineers have developed increasingly advanced robotic systems already introduced in some public spaces and could soon be deployed in home environments, and many of these robots are humanoid, meaning that their body structure and physical features resemble those of humans. Well, those with eyes, apparently, and this is actually something that happens in psychology, sociology. Eyes are what humans focus on. That's what we identify with. And then the rest of the face, we see the eyes, and then we see the rest of the face. So this article over at techexplore.com by Ingrid Fideli and it's actually from Tech Space Explore. I don't know why they break it up that way, but that's how they do it. So these robots are designed to interact with users and assist them during their everyday lives. Understanding how humans perceive these robots is of the utmost importance, with many roboticists working on creating robots that closely mimic humans. Some researchers have been trying to determine how robots' physical features affect people's beliefs about their minds and consciousness.
Wow, I can't believe we're already at this stage, right? A couple of years ago, nobody really had robots.
Right.
Now we're looking at this
as a psychological barrier. But see, we've always had the uncanny valley.
True. We've also had the very industrial robotics, but I think we're in a new era.
Yeah, so we're getting to cutesy, and cutesy robots people bond with, be them small furry animals, robotic animals, or something that just seems to trigger us to anthropomorphize a mechanical...
Like the little one that's like the little lamp.
Yeah, that too. So we find stuff that we identify with and we go, this is cute. If it was an ugly bot, nobody would think... I mean, a purely industrial bot that is designed to do one thing, dig a trench or something, nobody's going to really care about it. But you put googly eyes on it, and suddenly I have somebody in an office setting that put googly eyes, big googly eyes, on a cabinet, and people go, oh my God, that's so cute.
Exactly. It takes very little to impact humans, I think.
Humans are so easily amused and manipulated. It's fascinating. So humans are known to attribute special meanings to eyes, as they can sometimes express emotions and internal states. The researchers wish to determine whether the meanings often attributed to eyes also indirectly impact how people perceive humanoid robots, specifically the extent to which they have a mind, thus experiencing human-like thoughts or emotions.
So I'm guessing they had different styles, and then they basically had them rate information about them, or speculate about them or something.
So they basically had different experimental paths involving 200 and 100 human participants. They had different experiments themselves. For the first experiment, participants were asked to answer 4 questions after seeing images of robots. The questions focused on the extent to which they thought the robot in the image could act with self-control and thought, tell right from wrong, experience emotions, or possess a personality and consciousness. For the second experiment, the researchers assessed the participants' perceptions using the IAT. This psychological test is designed to measure people's subconscious attitudes towards specific things by asking them to quickly make associations after seeing a picture or reading a word. So IAT, I'm looking for the implicit
Let me see if
association test.
Okay, yeah. So I guess if people can quickly say something, maybe that's indicative of their true feelings toward it.
So with one, it's a little bit more targeted. The other one is more ephemeral. You have to make your word choices. You see a robot, do you think this one has a mind? You know, that kind of thing. So
Right.
the results from both explicit and implicit measurements showed that humans attribute higher levels of mind to humanoid robots with eyes, eye-like facial features, compared to robots without eyes. Both measurements also showed that the presence of eyes increased the mind attribution ratings on both agency and experience scales.
I mean, I suppose that makes sense, right? Like you said, people anthropomorphize things, animals, etc. And eyes apparently are such a critical thing for humans that
We immediately think that anything with, unless we train ourselves out of it, it's almost an innate animal based instinct to believe that something with eyes has a brain, has a mind, and thus has feelings, has emotion, has something.
well, and I would have thought that might be like a survival trait, perhaps, right? If it has
It is.
eyes, it's something to watch out for, but that doesn't really explain why we might feel empathy or something toward it, which I know this particular test isn't really getting into.
Yeah, most people know when you make eye contact, you know that they're looking at you, right? Some of us have the ability that they just kind of sense people or things looking at you. But when you make eye contact, you know that whatever it is sees you, has a brain, knows you exist. So it's purely an animal survival trait instinct that we've perpetuated. You know, we're not so far removed from nature that we've abolished that thought pattern. And so you attach eyes to a robot and you're like, it knows.
Right. I'd love to see kind of a corollary to this. Like, what are your preconceived ideas about robots going into this? Like, do they think they're cool, creepy, etc.? And I wonder if that would influence some of these answers.
Yeah, I'm going to have to read this paper. It's the effect of eyes on the perception of humanoid robots' mind. So does it have a mind?
Even the title is very reality hacker.
Yeah. One of these days, it's not going to be this. It's going to be a skinned bipedal humanoid where you can't
But I
tell the
think it
difference.
should be this. This is more manageable for most people, I would assume.
You're a sentient AI from the future sitting on a Raspberry Pi with an M.2 drive.
Yes, and how many times are humans terrified of robots?
Well, you're looking for a Terminator body as well, so I think that you're okay with this. You want to get rid of all the bag of mostly water. Moving on.
No.
The next article is over in Technology Today. Rich in cash, Japan automaker Toyota builds a city to test futuristic mobility. Woven City near Mount Fuji is where Japanese automaker Toyota plans to test everyday living with robotics, artificial intelligence, and autonomous zero-emission transportation.
Isn't this kind of reminiscent of like, I don't know, WandaVision or Truman Show or something? I mean,
Definitely Truman Show. Yeah. Can you imagine? Are people going to be walking around with this?
I don't know. I kind of want to go to it, or like even like Westworld or something. Like,
oh
those
my
are
God,
cool vehicles.
Westworld. Yeah. Westworld for sure. It's a fabricated city designed to simulate life, but this could be like Disneyland, Disney World. You know, thousands upon
Like
thousands of people.
Tomorrowland, but many years ago.
Yeah, this is amazing. I like the little people mover. It looks like there's a jacuzzi inside it, not like bench seats or something.
It does. That's weird.
It's weird. Anyway, I like this car. I want this car. Wanted is after this show.
I want to go visit this city. I think this looks neat.
Woven City in Susono City, Shizuoka Prefecture, and this is February 2025, so right around the corner. Pretty cool. Shows the square at the center of the apartment complexes of Woven City. Okay, well,
I mean, of course,
I
this
dig
would be
this.
done in Japan, right? They're typically ahead of the curve on technology.
Yeah. So Yuri Kageyama over at Tech Explorer put this article together. They said that it's not a smart city. We're making a test course for mobility, so that's a little bit different. We're not a real estate developer, said Daisuke Toyota with a D, not Toyota. He said on Saturday during a tour of the facility where the first phase of construction was completed. The Associated Press was the first foreign media to get preview of the $10 billion Woven City. The first phase spans 47,000 square meters, or 506,000 square feet, roughly the size of about 5 football fields, or one of the mayoral mansions. Yeah, I mean, we're a little snug here, but when completed, it'll be...
I don't think we can play a full football or baseball game.
Virtually, we are massive. We have no limits. So built on the grounds of a shuttered Toyota Motor Corporation auto plant, it's meant to be a place where researchers and startups come together to share ideas, according to Toyota, about Toyota. I think this is going to hurt my brain. There's a person with the last name Toyota, but they're talking about a company named Toyota. All right.
Trying to keep up.
Yep. So I dig all of this. To a point, there's some technocracy building kind of mentality out there that is truly dystopian, but ambitious plans for futuristic cities have sputtered or are unfinished, including one proposed by Google's parent company Alphabet in Toronto called Neom. That's a different one. There's one in Toyota. Neom is this it's a big wall that's planned in Saudi Arabia, a project near San Francisco spearheaded by a former Goldman Sachs trader, and Masdar City next to Abu Dhabi's airport. There are others too. There's one that's has aspirations in Florida. There's supposedly like 11 locations somewhere here in the US. It's all, I don't know. Anyway, no one's living there yet. The first residents will total just 100 people called Weavers. They're workers at Toyota and partner companies, including instant noodle maker Nissan and Daikin, which manufactures air conditioners. I've actually had one of those. And I've had Nissan. So anyway, never mind. Just a side thing. It's kind of like not
right.
Kind of like non sequitur news.
But wait, we're in RealityHacker.
Yeah, it's all the same world. Same world building. So Anyway, the city's name honors Toyota's beginnings as a maker of automatic textile looms. Saikichi Toyota, Daisuke's Toyota's great-great-grandfather, just wanted to make life easier for his mother, who toiled on a manual loom. So,
isn't it interesting how inventions come about?
now, you know what? Whenever I read all of that kind of stuff, I always am a little suspect, because the founding of eBay has this grand story about all they wanted to do was create a venue for their girlfriend to sell Beanie Babies,
I think. Yeah.
but it was all marketing smoke and mirrors BS. Anyway, Toyota Woven City. Anyway, you can follow over to ohmTown and follow the link through to techexplore.com and read more about this. Take a closer look, a gander at the pictures, and it's a coffee shop.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
It's a little mobile coffee shop.
A little people mover, like you said.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, I'm like, it looks like it's like a jacuzzi or something. But the more I looked at it, I thought it was a counter, and then sure enough, it's an actual counter.
For a counter, a coffee bar or something.
That is awesome. I want that.
Maybe we need to move this into wanted. Quick.
Oh my God. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today as well. A new device could help you taste a cake in virtual reality. Novel technology intends to redefine the virtual reality experience by expanding to incorporate new sensory connection, taste. These always flame out.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to quite work.
Tatiana Woodall from the Ohio State University, It's published over at techexplore.com, though. The interface, dubbed eTaste, uses a combination of sensors and wireless chemical dispensers to facilitate the remote perception of taste, what scientists call gustation. Figure out a different word for this, please.
Yes, please. That is not a good word, I don't think.
It's just never going to work. This has never worked. This has
Stop
never
trying to
worked.
make fetch work.
Yeah, fetch is not going to happen, and neither is whatever taste. Anyway, the chemicals that represent the 5 basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, umami. Once captured via an electrical signal, the data is wirelessly passed to a remote device for replication, and it never works.
No, but the Ohio State University is involved, so maybe will.
Okay. I'll bet you the upper limit of my betting nowadays is $1. So I'll bet you a virtual dollar. Since you don't have any cash on hand, your pockets are just electrons on a strange USB drive. Not even Bitcoin. Come on. So the chemical dimension in the current VR and AR realm is relatively underrepresented, and rightfully so. You taste with your mind, not with these weird sensors squirting out some weird goo that I'm going to be licking and smelling. It's just no. Anyway, and this is the tip of the iceberg of something that's in Wanted, by the way. Anyway.
Okay, should I be worried?
Jinhua Li, co-author of the study and an assistant professor of material science and engineering at the Ohio State. You have to say the Ohio State because I think it's part of their trademark.
Right, that's why I was emphasizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to make a bet with you, but I'll do a bet.
Yeah. So it's a gap that needs to be filled, and we've developed that with this next generation system. And no, it's not a gap that needs to be filled. No. No.
Right. How about everybody get to eat real food?
That's right. So it's a study that's been published in the journal Science Advances. It's based on the digital instruction. You can also choose to release one or several different tastes simultaneously so that they can form different sensations. Yet they say here, taste is a subjective sense that can change from one moment to another, yet this complex feeling is the product of two of the body's chemical sensing systems working in tandem to ensure that what you eat is safe and nutritious, the gustation and the olfactory, or smell, senses. Taste and smell are greatly related to human emotion and memory. Said Lee, our sensor has to learn to capture, control, and store all that information. But no, we interpret whatever it is that somebody represents as taste or smell, and combined taste and smell.
Well, and also I believe people are very unique in their taste.
They are.
Buds and everything.
Yeah. So I'll put it to you this way. Talk to somebody who, as a child, was traumatized by a parent who loved to cook, right? Their hand was smacked when they went to reach for a vanilla cookie, and ask them how they feel about vanilla. And if they say, well, I was traumatized as a child, I hate vanilla. You love vanilla. When you smell vanilla, they're going to have a semblance of that trauma in their psyche. And you are going to go, God, I love coming home to vanilla chocolate chip cookies, that smell that just wafts through the room. It brings me back home. The other person is going, I got to go talk to my therapist.
Right. And it's the same exact food.
So you're never going to do it right because you're never on target to begin with. It's a different vanilla. It's a different temperature in the room. It's a different mindset altogether.
It could be different how the person is feeling that day. I mean, there can be so many variables, right? Like if they're energetic or not feeling well or whatever, I think some of those things can impact.
So I'm happy that somebody's doing this, but I'm betting that it's going to go nowhere because they've had these things on the market before and they just flame out. Yeah, I smell something rotten, and it's sensory augmentation.
Is it vanilla or sulfur?
It's sulfur. Let's go on. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. These humanoid robots could build themselves on factory lines, so now we're building robots that are building themselves, phasing out human component altogether.
Right. I mean, why do we need a person to design the factory, operate the factory, maintain the factory?
Now I hire one AI and it does everything.
I mean, I don't know. It's one thing to see a robot doing something that a human does, but it's a whole nother level to have the robot setting up the robot to do the thing.
Yep. And so I talk regularly, almost every day, about science and technology and society. Those are the three that I merge together. And it's not just on the streams, but it's outside of ohmTown. And one of the things that I have actually shown to people is this video from CGP Grey called Humans Need Not Apply. And I advance it 10 years because it's an 11-year-old video now. And I advance it to modern times because it never mentions AI. And they need to modernize that video to show just where we are. And the phrase at the end is, what are humans going to do when there comes a time when humans need not apply? Because automation coupled with AI means that you don't need as many humans. You really don't. So I have the audience talk about, well, I tell them, give me something that you think is immune to technological innovation, enhancement, or replacement entirely. And people tell me all kinds of stuff. And
but then they're all things, right, that technology can and will be used for.
I show in real time examples of, and it's all off the cuff. Now, one where I thought that it was never going to get tampered with, and that was humans being taught how to be human. You have to be human to teach empathy, but not with cutesy robots, not with AI, not with these filler words and emotional pleas that can be injected into the communication stream of AI to humans. The uhs, the ahs, the I see you and you're wearing this jacket or this color shirt. So, and you look like you're frowning. Are you unhappy? The robot, the AI knows because it's been programmed off of all of humanity. I think
exactly. It's doing all the things that, even if it's not really doing them, it is perceived as doing them.
Yeah. And as we have already talked, robots have eyes, now, and we sympathize, we empathize, we empower them, we anthropomorphize them, we make them more human than they technically are. And so even without a soul, we impart a piece of our soul into them. And so now I think even today now, like I started feeling this way a few years ago. Robots can teach humans how to be human if we teach the robots how to teach humans to be human.
Yeah, they have to be programmed correctly.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're psychopathic, sociopathic, emotionless, heartless, and that's damn near a survival trait in modern society. So robot maker Aptronic partnered with supply chain giant Jabil to test and produce its humanoid robots. Aptronic says that Apollo robots will perform simple tasks supporting workers in Jabil's factories. Aptronic previously partnered with Mercedes-Benz, and there are other bipedal robot manufacturers that are working with other automotive manufacturers to deploy robots to manufacture cars, replacing the human. And so instead of having 200 humans, there's 16 bipedal robots working 24 hours.
You might have 1 or 2 humans overseeing it.
Right. Yep. And it's the same as the checkout counters at a grocery store, you know? All right. Well, Kenneth Nehmeyer over at BusinessInsider.com put this article together. We have a little snapshot, right? So that's how we aggregate just a little bit of it. Then we send you over to the source. It's kind of like Reddit, except that we don't do any user content. So our original content doesn't come from our readers, our consumers on ohmtown.com. All it does is do aggregation, and then you can sort it how you like. But a whole bunch of news gets aggregated into one macro place, but 50 sub-channels under 6 main categories. Well, Jabil, which is generally known for building electronic circuit boards, will provide a factory environment for real-world testing of Aptronic's Apollo robots. They first launched in 2016 in a lab at the University of Texas at Austin. And this is what I tell people when they wonder about higher education and, I don't need to blah, blah, blah. Most fundamental research is done as a partnership between government, private corporations, and academia. Whatever is developed within the university or college system becomes part of a technology exchange and spun out as typically either a wholesale product within a major corporation or a wholesale business outside of the university, but which the university benefits from each sale. It becomes a silent partner or part of the board of directors for the corporation that guides the company moving forward, but it's called the technology exchange. And if the government is involved in it, then the government gets a bite at that technology first and foremost because it has strategic or tactical opportunity. Then it becomes a practical solution later on, and that's called tactical to practical. People do not talk about this stuff. They think that university is just a sap on government grant funding and all of that. That's not how it works. And everything that you are consuming today is benefit of fundamental academia research in coordination with private industry and government grant funding. Google, for instance, was a DARPA project.
Right. Google, think how much humans use that on a daily basis.
All right. Anyway, off my soapbox. So this is the second time that Aptronic has agreed to send the Apollo robots into a factory setting. The company announced a deal in March 2024 with Mercedes-Benz to test Apollo robots with simple tasks in the company's manufacturing lines. So off you go. They're going to be building themselves and building cars and other things, but they're going to be building themselves.
That is going to be so creepy.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is the one, BMW. This is one of the other ones that we've talked about.
Oh, right. Yeah, we featured that in a separate episode in Ohmtown.
Yeah. And if you want to watch our past episodes, go over to YouTube. There's 1,900 of them. You can do that in, 1,900 hours.
You should watch all of them all the way through.
It'll only take you 1,900 hours. It's not that long. Okay, our last article for today's Reality Hacker on March 1st, 2025 is what is augmented intelligence? The future of AI human collaboration. And this, I've heard this phrase used before, but in a different way, perhaps. The way that I've used it is with extended reality or augmented reality glasses and AI, where I can ask a question and I'm provided the information sans having to go online and search, break out my phone or my tablet or whatever. So, as conversations about artificial intelligence grow, a new concept, augmented intelligence, which I've actually been using for 10 years, is taking shape as a more human-focused way of using technology. While AI often evokes visions of automation and machine-driven decision-making, augmented intelligence focuses on collaboration, where machines enhance rather than replace human capabilities. This concept is increasingly relevant as businesses, healthcare providers, financial institutions integrate AI-powered tools to improve efficiency and decision-making. Okay, so we'll just go over to the source of this, which is a fairly new source. This is actually probably the first time that we've actually used one of their news bits. Corey Knowles over at reality.news
Oh yeah, I think that is the first time we've had this in one of our shows.
Yeah, they have a section called Next Reality. So one of the things that I suffer from is I have to tell people that they have to get certifications, industry accepted certifications. They have to meet certain metrics to be accepted by industry, or they play a social game and they get in through what is the equivalent of bias and nepotism and insider machinations instead of knowledge, skills, and abilities that are representative in a void of other influences, right? So what I hate about that is how often are you, outside of brain surgery or live surgery on a person, are you required to know every single thing so that when you're in a location, you don't have the ability to reference or talk to another human being. You have to know everything. It's never that way. You can just go, you know what? I don't know, but let me find out right now. And you whip out your phone and you do a couple of Google searches. Your Google foo rises to the level and you say, here's the answer, and you perform the answer. You don't have to know everything from end to end.
Right, you just need to know where or how to look.
Get it. You have the world's knowledge at your fingertips. You can go and get it. I believe that so strongly. It's literally tattooed on me. And so I talk to people about that. I tell people that, but eventually they have to get these industry accepted certifications. Otherwise, no cert, no cookie on the table. You don't get any reward for not performing. And I really don't like that because I think you could look it up. And so understanding augmented intelligence. At its core, augmented intelligence is built on 3 principles. According to this new structure, it's enumerated in a way that I've never enumerated it. But human-centric approach, AI supports human capabilities rather than seeking to replace them. That's why I refer to AI as nothing more than a tool, except for the sentient AI from the future, which is my co-host.
Right, yeah, let's not lump me in with everybody else.
Right. I apologize. Collaboration over automation. AI and humans work together to achieve better results than they could alone. It should be that when a person is assigned 8 hours worth of work and they can get it done in 4 hours because they're using AI, you should benefit from 4 hours of work-life balance getting back to you as a human. But that's not the way that employers exploit.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Now, the third part here is data-driven insights. Machines analyze complex data sets, providing actionable insights that empower human decision makers. But bad data means bad decisions, in which I really hate the phrase, I make data-driven decisions. Your data could be screwed up,
It seems also very overused.
and it's insular. So why would you do anything except the same-o if your data-driven decision is suggesting you do the same-o? Well, no, you have to deviate from that. You have to take a risk to grow the company. You have to take the risk to make a new minimum viable product and bring it to market. You have to take risk to expand. Just doing it the same-o means that you're going to have the same stagnant you. Boom. So I don't like this particular framework other than AI is a tool and should benefit humans. But the people who pay your bills don't see that as good enough. They see you as having additional free time. So they're either going to replace you because the bot does it all on its own, or they're going to assign you more work so that you don't get your life. You are stuck with the standard mantra of 8 hours a day on the clock.
Is this the first time you've seen the term augmented intelligence?
In ohmTown, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it's the first time that I've heard somebody else outside of me actually use that, because the way that I use augmented intelligence is tapping into massive resources of information to solve problems, not having it all stored in your head where, every time you have a thought, your nose bleeds because that's all you do is store information.
Right. Which I think differentiates it from things that we've seen like in cyberpunk films.
Yeah. And that's basically, I think more along the lines of the cyberpunk side of things, where you have the ability to tap into the massive amount of information, and it isn't the end all be all of being replaced by technology. You're augmented by all of this knowledge, but it's not innate in you. You can seek it out. They say here, augmented intelligence works alongside humans, offering recommendations while leaving final decisions to human experts. For instance, AI-powered medical imaging tools highlight potential issues for doctors to examine rather than making definitive diagnoses. And that's how it is today. It isn't, well, there's at least one company that has outright said that they're using AI to determine if you deserve that treatment that your doctor has already said you deserve. And let's just say that at least one person got really upset about that idea. Well,
too soon.
Augmented intelligence in the medical profession is they use AI to parse high resolution images for like breast cancer and cancer and medical conditions in general. And then it's given to the radiologist to verify, and then it's given to the doctor as validated analyses for them to pursue treatment. And
plus,
that would be,
and you can also feed in when there is a hit, right? That helps informs future diagnostic information.
Yep. And AI has the ability to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and has all of the world's knowledge at its fingertips in a more distilled manner, where humans have to go, I remember an article talking about this, and then they have to go seek it out. Whereas I could just type it into an AI and say, hey, I know that I've seen this article and it had the word, CTC in it, right? And it can go and find the article that I once referenced, 10 years ago or whatever. Anyway, I think that augmented intelligence is where we should be, and it should be integrated into XR or extended reality glasses, where we can interact with the information with our eyes and our voice, and we don't need a computer anymore. And eventually we'll be able to go full on cyberpunk and, chip into the cyber omniverse.
The Matrix.
Yeah. The Matrix turns us into batteries. I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, this article goes into a little bit more detail and refers to Notebook LM, which is a data management kind of
Okay. And also
solution.
focuses on several industries as to where this could be utilized.
Yeah. So AI is really where it's at, but people need to stop treating it as the solution and treat it more like a tool. It is a screwdriver. It isn't the person turning the screwdriver. You still need the rational human being utilizing this tool that is cold, callous, calculating, devoid of human emotion and soul, treating everybody as if it's nothing. They are nothing. Humans are nothing more than objects to be, well, chattel. I mean, that's what AI thinks we are. It has no idea that we actually are sentient, living, caring creatures. It will just say, "Oh no, we need to eliminate 4%," and here we are on what is the train, um, the sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Oh, Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer. They periodically eliminate like 4% of the population to prevent uprising and to control for sustenance resources. So, yeah, that's what it would turn into at some point if you allow AI to do everything. Anyway,
I think we should not go in that direction.
yeah, so we are going to utilize augmented intelligence, and that's telling us that we need to go back to the front page of RealityHacker over at ohmtown.com. So go over there, sign up, sign in, and then you can navigate all through ohmTown. So it has 6 main categories, 50 channels, each with their own niche topics. We happen to sample from a bunch of them for our shows where they apply. So RealityHacker is all about modifying the future, our world around us, and potentially in a way that benefits. So we'll see. We'll have to ride that wave. Anyway, I am Merwad. I'm saying see you later, and I'm taking the AI.
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Reality Hacker. We'll have another episode of this next weekend, but stay tuned for our other weekly shows. Don't forget to subscribe and watch our replay when we're not live.
Yeah, so we're going to reset. And when you see us in, I don't know, I think maybe we'll be back in about 12 minutes. I have to reset. We'll be Wanted, which is about gadgets and gear, and 5 more articles. We'll be talking about cameras and an underwater or overwater bungalow, and getting rid of emptying your junk drawer, and the Nerf loadout, and then finally, well, a sniffable mouse. Yeah, take that as the last sentence.